Okay, what's up you guys? Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my third time filming this video. I keep having technical difficulties, so I'm gonna run through the story one more time. Today's video is going to be about how I paid off my student loans 4 months after graduating. So before I get into the story, I do want to say that I understand that everybody's circumstance is a little bit different, and so I'm hoping that you guys can take little tips and tricks from what I did and kind of adjust them to work for you. So that's my goal with this story. I graduated with about $14,000 of debt, which isn't too bad, but I knew that I wanted to pay it off as soon as possible. I had heard the horror stories about people, feeling weighed down by their student loan debt and paying their debt off for the rest of their life. And so I just knew that I wanted to get it paid off as soon as possible. When I was about a junior in college, I found out that there was a 6 months grace period after you graduated, and so my goal was to pay off that balance within that 6-month grace period. So, yeah, $14K, not too bad, but needed to be paid. I do want to say that no, I did not live with my parents while I was paying off my student loans. I did have a roommate though, and so that cut my living costs down pretty much in half. So about a year before I graduated, I only had a couple of online classes left. So I did an internship, and the internship was full-time. I graduated with an accounting degree, so accounting internships are typically paid. The internship that I was working, I was paid $15 an hour, so I was making pretty decent money to still be in school for that last year. I had a plan to pay off my student loans. I knew that I wanted to open a separate bank account, checking account, specifically for my student loans. This is a tip. This is a really good game changer. If you have a savings goal, just open up a separate bank account, a separate checking account, and just pay money to that checking account. Transfer it like it's a bill every single month or every single week. That is a game changer. Open up a separate checking account specifically for your savings goal, especially if you are trying to pay off your student loans. So like I said, I had that idea to open up a separate account and just pay weekly a certain amount of money to that bank account. For whatever reason, I never opened that account during that year that I had initially planned to. I think I was just lazy. I was also just kind of excited about the internship and making decent money for the first time in forever. I worked throughout college, but it was always less than $9 an hour. So, and it was part-time. So yeah, I was excited to finally be making a decent amount of money, and I was traveling, and I was doing road trips and going to concerts and eating out more often than normal. But naturally I'm a pretty frugal person, so I was still being very cautious of how much money I was spending. I just was not saving as aggressively as I intended to. Towards the end of the year, I had maybe a few $1,000s saved up just in my regular checking account. And so that is when I was like, you know what, I need to get aggressive about my repayment strategy. I need to get aggressive. So this was around December, January, and I was going to be graduating in May. So I finally went to my bank and I opened up that separate checking account that I had been thinking about forever. So I opened up the second checking account, and this was a game changer. This was a huge game changer because I was able to just put money in that account and then not even think about it, not even really look at it. It was a game changer because once that money was gone from my personal checking account and in its student loan account, then I could see my actual personal checking account and know how much money I was allowed to just spend on myself and on my other bills and things. So I took a large chunk out of my checking account and I just put it straight into that savings account. It wasn't a savings account, it was really a checking account, and I decided to do a checking account so I could have access to those funds whenever I wanted to. But I'm going to call it a savings account for the purpose of this video. That was maybe a couple $1,000s, but it was a start. Around March, I got my tax refund, and it was a lot larger than normal because I had been working so much throughout the year. And the internship had also allowed me to work a decent amount of overtime hours because we had to do SOX testing. And if you are an accountant or majored in accounting, then you know what I'm talking about. If not, don't even worry about it. But we worked overtime. Just know that. So yeah, my income tax refund was pretty nice, and so what I did, I took like a couple $100s out of it, and that is what I spent on myself for my birthday. But literally the entire rest of the check, I took it and I put it straight into my student loan savings account. And then this is where I started to get motivated, because this is when it was like, oh, that's like a nice sum of money, like I'm getting really close. Like this is when I started to get really excited and really motivated. So also in March, this is when coronavirus, well, I don't even know if I can say corona, can I say pandemic? I'll say pandemic. This is when the pandemic had hit, and this is when everything had started to shut down. And so this is also when I got laid off from my job. So like I said, I was an intern. They had offered me a full-time position, and I got laid off before I could even like start full-time out of school. So got laid off, had to file unemployment. Unemployment didn't come in until like 6 weeks. So for 6 weeks, I had to live off of my the money that was still in my personal checking account. And it was kind of scary because I didn't know like how long it was going to take for my unemployment to come in, but thankfully it came in after six weeks, so I didn't have to touch the money that was in my student loan bank account. And this is why I think it's really good to have a separate checking account for your savings goal, because if anything was to go wrong, like lose your job in the middle of a pandemic and your unemployment isn't coming in, you can freely go and access those funds, you know. But obviously you have to have enough self-control to not touch it otherwise, which, you know, I was fine with that. So filed unemployment, took 6 weeks to come in. Finally it came in, and you guys know that the government issued a unemployment bonus, and the bonus was a pretty decent amount of money. Without the bonus though, my unemployment was only a couple $100s, which is extremely low. Like if I didn't have a roommate, I don't even know if I would have been able to survive. The way I looked at it was like, they're only giving me this bonus because we're in the middle of a pandemic. So if I had happened to been on unemployment and there wasn't a pandemic, I would only be making a couple $100s a week from unemployment. So why don't I just pretend that this bonus doesn't exist? So that's what I did. I took the bonus and I just put it straight into that student loans savings account. Filed for unemployment every single week like you're supposed to, and every single week when that money was deposited into my account, I took that bonus and I put it into my student loans account. And I lived off of that couple $100s a week, and it was a little difficult. I definitely had to pay attention to my money, and my personal checkings account was getting like, you know, a little bit lower and lower and lower as the months went on, because a couple $100s a week obviously isn't much money at all. So yeah, but it worked. Nonetheless, it worked, and by late July, early August, I had reached my goal, like down to the dollar. I had reached my goal, which was basically 4 months. So I graduated in May and I reached my goal. I'll say early August because I don't remember if it was like late July, early August, but graduated in May, reached my goal by August, had all of that money saved in that student loan account down to the dollar amount. So that was May, June, July, August, 4 months. Because we're in the middle of the pandemic, our government has paused our student loans. None of them are accruing interest right now. So because they're not accruing interest, even though I'm still in my 6-month grace period, they're also not accruing interest because of the pandemic that's going on. And so it wouldn't make sense for me to go in and pay them right now. It's all of that money right now is still sitting in its little checking account, and I'm just doing that for safety reasons, just in case anything was to pop up and you know, I needed to use that money. So yeah, my plan is to physically go in and actually pay them right before I have to pay interest on them. So I'm just kind of waiting it out, because you never know like what the government is going to say. You never know if they're going to keep our loans frozen for longer. You don't know if they might forgive some of them. So that's why I haven't like physically gone in and paid it yet, but the money's just sitting there waiting to be paid. So yeah, that is my student loan story. I guess I can go back and highlight the tips. So tip number 1 is to plan ahead. Oh my god, plan ahead. If you know that you are going to be taking out student loans, if you're in high school, if you're a freshman in college, or whatever, wherever you are, start planning now. Start coming up with the repayment plan now. Start educating yourself now, because that is going to save you a lot of money. If I was to wait until I graduated to like make a plan, I probably would not have met my goal. So definitely start planning ahead. Number 2, definitely try to cut down on your living expenses by either living with your parents or by getting a roommate or a couple of roommates. Roommating definitely helped. 3, open a checking account specifically for your student loan. This is going to be the best game changer. Like, I'm telling you, open a checking account specifically to save up for your student loans. You're going to love it. It's like foolproof. Open a separate checking account specifically for your student loans, please. That is it. That was it for my student loan story. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys were able to take some little bits and pieces of advice from this. If you like this video, then comment down below. Also like this video and subscribe to this channel. But yeah, this channel is going to have a lot of videos focused around saving money, because that's just the type of person I am. I'm really frugal. I'm always trying to find ways to save money. So if you like saving money, make sure you subscribe to this channel, but know that there are also going to be so many other videos as well. So thank you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for commenting. Goodbye.